What you just heard was a short snippet from Ingesting Blattaria by Blotted Science. Blotted Science is an instrumental progressive metal supergroup formed in 2005 by guitarist Ron Jarzombek of Spastic Inc. and bassist Alex Webster of Cannibal Corpse. Though the band has seen numerous drummers over the years, this video focuses on the work of Hans Grossman, ex-drummer for both Necrophagist and Obscura, whose drumming you just heard in the previous clip. Though still technically active, the band's last release was their 2011 EP, The Animation of Entomology. Each of the 4 songs on the EP pays homage to a different horror movie. The band achieved this by perfectly syncing each track to a scene from the listed film. Within the band, Jarzombek acts as primary composer, as well as the dominant melodic component within the music. Jarzombek derives the melodic content for each song from a unique row. He then proceeds in one of 2 ways, either utilizing full row presentations, or placing the row onto a clock and segmenting it into discrete subsets by row order position. Though Jarzombek compositionally rationalizes these subsets using the clock face, my analysis will utilize the more standard linear representation of the row for the sake of clarity. When presenting a full row, Jarzombek only uses the prime form or rotated retrograde. Rotated retrograde is the retrograde of the prime form with the last note of the retrograde, in this instance C, rotated to the front. Notably, Jarzombek does not transpose these presentations. For example, because the prime ordering of the Ingesting Blattaria row begins on C, every row presentation begins on C. Ingesting Blattaria typifies both compositional practices within its first few measures. Measure 1 presents 2 groups of 3 tetrachords, each combining to form an aggregate. Following Mead, 1988, I refer to these groups as mosaics, or, quote, a partition of the aggregate, either of order numbers or pitch classes, into discrete collections, end quote. All 6 tetrachords across both mosaics begin on the even-numbered row order positions. While mosaic 1 contains the tetrachords beginning on row order positions 0, 4, and 8, mosaic 2 presents the remaining 2, 6, and 10 positions. The second mosaic is particularly interesting because it illuminates Jarzombek's willingness to begin and end at any point in the row, at least when dealing with it harmonically. This flexibility allows Jarzombek to extract a surprising degree of harmonic variance from a single row. Each unique starting point for a tetrachordal segmentation, those being row order positions 0, 1, 2, and 3, produces a different mosaic with potentially separate discrete sets. Jarzombek employs these variations in discrete sets to maintain pitch and intervallic intrigue in lieu of transposition or inversion. After presenting the 2 mosaics in full, Jarzombek moves to full row presentations in rotated retrograde, beginning in measure 2. Though both presentations begin identically, the end of measures 4 and 5 feature rhythmic variation. This variance lends to 2 possible readings of the phrase. There are either 2 2-measure units with varied repetitions, or 1 4-measure unit with an internal A prime structure. Since each row presentation spans 2 measures, one may be inclined to agree with the former reading initially. However, varying riffs over such a short span is an infrequent occurrence within metal. Due to this, I hear measures 2 through 5 as a single unit, or riff, encompassing 2 row presentations that Jarzombek then repeats with no variation across measures 6 to 9. In this way, Ingesting Blattaria dialogues with both 12-tone and metal idiomatic practices, straddling the line between the 2 in fascinating ways. By encompassing 2 row presentations within a single riff, and not varying that riff, these initial rotated retrograde presentations demonstrate a greater degree of metal influence. At the onset of measure 10, one might expect this trend to continue. However, from measures 10 to 14, we see a far greater degree of variance between row presentations, In fact, a unified riff seems near impossible to assert convincingly. Instead, there is a homogenization of the musical texture into a single stream, alongside explicit differentiation between each row presentation. Put simply, there is no riff within these measures, only 4 unique presentations that combine to form a single phrase. Of these presentations, the second is likely the most startling, for 3 reasons. 1. Its concluding tritone is the first instance of harmony realized within a single line. 2. The rest that ends measure 12 is the first silence since the piece began. And 3. The row is incomplete, missing row order positions 9, 10, and 11. This last point creates a question within the piece's fabric, one requiring an answer. Luckily, this answer comes quickly, as after another normative presentation an octave down, the guitar switches to triplets for the 4th and final row presentation. It is as if the music knows it must move faster or risk being cut off again. This quicker rhythm succeeds in presenting the full row within 4 rather than 6 beats, fixing the problem posed initially by the incomplete row. This thematic abnormality, coupled with the lack of a clearly definable riff, places this span more in line with 12-tone compositional tendencies than metal idioms. Such quick shifts in genre between contiguous sections allow Blotted Science to blend the worlds of 12-tone and metal composition within the Animation of Entomology. Though one might expect such shifts in genre to be disorienting, taken as a whole, Jarzombek is able to masterfully blend these 2 disparate genres into a coherent and intriguing work of art.